Welcome everybody to the PD Chat Show, Manufacturing Madness. Now, our regular panel members are here with us tonight. Pete Cater, give us a wave. Pete, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Good.
Good. And Rob Bryan, how are you, pal? Nice to have you back this week.
I'm a lot better this week, thank you. Yay.
Good, good, good. And we have our special guest. As you can see, there's not 4 windows, but there's 5 windows. So we have Dave from Hardcase International. Hi, Dave. How you doing?
I'm really well. Good to see everybody. How are you doing?
Amazing. We're all good. Thank you very much. And Chris Bennett from Austin, Texas, from Bopworks Sticks. How you doing, Chris?
Howdy, y'all. I'm good, thank you.
So, so just to make sure that he was in Austin. So fantastic. So people are watching. Thank you very much. Colin Humphreys, Dave Brown, Mike Tuppen watching Drum Depot. Brilliant, thank you very much. So we always start this this evening with a conversation, but before I do that, if you're watching on replay, please put in the comments #replay. We've also got our drumming club on Facebook, which is the Palace Drumming Club. Go to there; it's more interactive. You see lots more stuff happening than actually the Facebook page. If you're watching this and you're not even on our Facebook page, do it now. Go to our Facebook page. We'll wait for you and just basically because you can find out more fantastic things from the Palace Drum Clinic. So go ahead and do it. I'm waiting. That's fine. We'll wait. Brilliant. There we go. Well done. Well done. Come back to us now. So yeah. So also go to the website palaceDrumClinic.com and you'll see fantastic videos of all this three and a half years worth of live clinics that we've done, including our Palace Drum Camp, which is coming around this February again. More details that after the summer, and everything that's basically coming on. We've got lots and lots planned for the next couple of years. So, but obviously we're here today to talk about Manufacturing Madness. So, just a few highs before we start. Yeah, Joe Morris, hello. Kirsty, Swami's on as well. Brilliant. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I'm going to come to you first, Chris, because obviously all the way in Texas. Bopworks sticks. Can you just tell people, first of all, what are Bopworks sticks?
I can't.
Okay.
You want me to do it now?
Yes,
okay.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Good. Okay, so it's a 7 model line, primarily smaller sticks that were designed in the 40s, 50s, 60s ish, and they're just meant to basically have less weight up front. So if you're playing your K or your K-like Istanbul cymbal, you're not going to get the overtones. And we do an Art Blakey signature model. We do a Mel Lewis signature model. We used to do a Shelley Mann, which I'm hoping we can bring back after this whole economy thing. And what else? Our Birdland, which I think someone in that group may have some of those, is actually the Roy Haynes model from the 1960s. So that was kind of the first stick we started with, because it was it's like a pencil stick. Peter probably remembers them. I don't know, you other whippersnapper, maybe Dave remembers them, but in the 60s they were pencil sticks. Mm-hmm. Right, so you're getting less overtones out of your ride cymbal, and I always wanted to be able to choose to play brushes when I wanted to play brushes, as opposed to having to play brushes, right? So I had a few of these Birdlands made and gave them to my good buddy Rick Cannell, and he was taking them out and playing them, and he said, these aren't bad. And I said, well, maybe I'll go on and get 100 pair made. And so it kind of took off from there, and that's kind of the short. Oh, and Rob knows the story, but I was playing this gig at the Elephant Room in Austin, which is a really nice jazz venue, and I had the K Complex ride, the Bill Stewart one when it came out, and I took it to the gig, and I was like all convinced that I was going to sound like Bill Stewart, and I was going to then move to New York and get all his gigs. And so I started playing the cymbal, and the guitar player is going like, which isn't a bad thing sometimes. But anyway, I couldn't get a sound out of it, and I was all bummed. Took it home the next day, and then I rummaged through my bunch of old vintage sticks, and I found a Rod Haynes, and I played the cymbal, and it was like, the Heavenly Choir kicks in, and I'm going, oh, okay. Well, the cymbal still sucks, and I'm going to get rid of it, but I get it. So that's kind of how they evolve from there.
Right. So how did you get hold of this? Like I suppose, the sticks, the artist sticks, they obviously used to play, and it's obviously for length, weight, and tips and stuff like that. Did you have a selection yourself and then started it up, or was it literally just hunting for these particular ones?
No, I've been a drum collector nerd for a long time. So when I was in retail, we often would have the kits come in on consignment, and then there'd always be sticks in the boxes or whatever. And then Tommy Taylor, the Austin drummer, would go on trips with Eric Johnson, and he'd always go into these music stores, and he'd come back with a batch of Gretsch sticks or something like that. So it was tough, and I'll hold them up, Nick. These are all, not that you're going to be able to see them, but the point being, these are all Mel Lewis and Gretsch Mel Lewis, and every one of them, even the ones that came in the bags, were different. So they're different lengths. The butt ends are different. Some are rounded. So to do the Mel Lewis and the Art Blakey, which was the same thing, we just had to go through, take calipers and just measure the tapers and get the closest average we could, because the company making those sticks in the day was like, and I won't mention who it was, but anyway, so they're incredibly inconsistent. And I've already told Rob this joke, but the idea is they're time enhanced because they're warped. So if you want to play ahead of the beat, you turn it on one way. So that's pretty much the overview there.
Amazing. And Rob, just come to you. Obviously, I got introduced to Bopworks obviously through you.
Yeah.
As an artist, I suppose, especially it's like in different settings that you don't want to swap your cymbals and everything else. You do have a collection of sticks, including like the Birdlands as well. What do they do for you as a recording artist?
They just, and I always do this I've done it at the Palace, I think. I do a thing in masterclasses and clinics where I say, people are talking about cymbal sounds, and I'll play like a 5A Vic Firth, which I use, a 5B, and then I'll get either this Art Blakey model or the Birdland and play it, and people's faces, and I say, right, that's not just on the cymbal, on the ride. Check out what the difference is on the drums. So then imagine being in a recording studio when the mics are picking up every little pinprick, and you're changing these things up. Imagine how the drums suddenly sound so different on a different track. So sometimes, if you're playing something which is heavy, you play a slightly heavier stick, but in the studio, it just kills the sound. So I'll pick up either the Art Blakey or the Birdlands, and I used to have the Shelly Mans too. And all of a sudden, the drum sounds completely different, and you'd have to change the heads up or change the tuning. It's incredible. So having those Bopworks in my stick bag has been absolutely fantastic for the last, 10 years now, Chris, or 12 years, maybe longer. And all last year I was touring with them with Lorena, just pull them out the bag. They just sound absolutely fantastic because I found 7As don't quite cut it. And like Chris said, there's something about the weight of the stick that if you're a jazz drummer, and not even a jazz drummer, but someone who really cares about the sound of their kit and not just, thumping it out, which is another thing, then, you've got to check them out. They just give you other colors. And that's what I'm looking for in the studio for sure.
They sound, if you don't mind me saying, they sound very much like the old Premier E's and C's that everybody used to look after. You were desperate to get a pair of those, and now they're like the proverbial rocking horse. So it's great to know that there's something out there that replicates that, because most modern sticks tend to be much chunkier and
Well, they're too light, aren't they? They go too far the other side.
Yeah, that's right. You go the opposite direction.
I think you'd love them, Dave. I really think you'd love them. They'd suit your style completely.
I love them playing traditional grip as well, which I like you, Rob. Doing all the jazz sort of stuff as well as rock and roll. They would sound as though they'd fit in perfectly for that sort of style of playing, really.
Definitely.
Great. Can I just come to Pete? Pete, are you clocking in on something else? Pete? Oh, hang on. Guys, this is a new one. I think Pete's having trouble, so we're going to try and get him in on something else. If it is somebody else, I'm going to have to get rid of them straight away. Oh, there's Pete.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
There we go. There you are, Pete.
He's got a doppelganger.
And you thought one Pete was enough. We have two.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Are you okay, Pete?
Yeah, just lost contact.
Okay. Can you mute one of them? Because we can hear both at the same time.
Turn one of them off.
Okay, if I've muted that one for you, Pete. Don't worry, and we can see you on your phone. So there we are. So yes, we've got two Pete's, which is amazing. So do you know, it's so nice to actually have an even square, well, rectangle. So that's absolutely fine. And I don't know if you can watch it from home. Old Pete's next to each other from home, but obviously I'm seeing it is. Bless Chris is actually squashed between two caters, which is a phrase I don't think I'll ever say again. So there we are. So Pete comes to you. Did you hear any of that, Pete?
No, not a word.
Okay. Well, in that case,
it looked great though. It looked fabulous.
Oh, great! I'm great about that. So I'll just say a few hellos. So Jim Renner, it's Pete and repeat. Very good. AJ Roussel, Joe Allen Loins. She said hello from Texas. Hello from England. Hello, Mum and Dad. Big fans they are. Kenneth Russell Everett. Hi guys. Eventful day. So nice to relax with some drumming folk. Jim says time enhancer, nice marketing line. Glenn Jones, hi guys. The Macmillan family, hello. Ian Stock, Richard Burns again, Gary Foster. But thank you so much, guys, for watching. William Simpson Fraser's watching with you. Oh, that's very kind. Thanks for that. Pete was obviously talking about obviously the different types of sticks. Obviously, give you different sounds and being able to give you different timbres and everything else on the drums and the cymbals. Are you on one man stick kind of guy, or do you like to swap over for?
Yeah, no, I use one thing all for everything.
Yeah, and why is that?
Well, without mentioning the name or model of the product that I use, they have slight inconsistencies. If you get a dozen pairs, you can have 4 heavy pairs, 4 medium pairs, and 4 light pairs, and so I can pick between them according to the musical application. But it's always the same model of stick, so the balance is the same, and in terms of the dynamic requirements of whatever music it is I'm playing, it's always the same model of stick, and there's sometimes little inconsistencies of quality control can actually be advantageous, because one of the things I do that I know 1 or 2 people know is sometimes use a 5A in my right hand and a 5B in my left hand.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah. What's to say? It's choices, isn't it? That's the reason why we have all these many stuff. So, is there, Dave? Obviously, we know you as Hardcase, so we've known each other for quite a long time. But it's Hardcase. But a lot of people don't know you actually are a drummer as well, aren't you? You do actually do gigs. And 9 times out of 10, this is how these actual manufacturing products and everything actually comes about, because it's a need, isn't it, for a drummer? Was that your need for maybe going into the case side of things that you saw? Well, do you know what? This is actually product something that I need in my life, and it may sort out a lot of other people as well.
Well, it wasn't me that actually invented the Hardcase brand. It was it was Derek Brown was the boss of the Hardcase company, and I was just a sales manager. But there was nobody working in the company. It was of a drumming background. So when I came on board, we'd got a limited amount of products on the range. But since then, I've managed to help adapt it and bring it to increase the range. Because not only do I play kit, I used to be very involved in marching band. Done a bit of sort of like, not say massive orchestral work, but worked in a pit section in a marching section of a marching band and the pit. So I brought that to Hardcase, and we developed the marching range from something like 4 products to like 54 products. And using that experience, because for me as a drummer, I want to try, and I still do it now with Hardcase, as with being the owner now, is to try and look at it from a drummer's perspective. What does the drummer need? And that's why we've adapted the products, you know, shorter straps, changed some of the designs, the stacking feature, the handle grips. We try and cater for most products, because I don't know if you're aware that we don't have a product model for every single drum manufacturer out there. All our cases are generic. It allows us to say, to cover Yamaha, to cover Gretsch, to do a Tama, to do some of the custom build drums as well. And the cymbal case is designed to take basically all brands that are out there. So it becomes a generic product. So the concept was born by somebody else, but he could only take it so far. He needed somebody with drumming experience to come into the company to try and evolve the brand, which hopefully I think I've done it quite successfully, to actually buying the company 3 years ago. So it's a bit like the old Remington. I did exactly what it says in the tin scenario and all the company. But yeah, I think I try to bring it, as I say, from a drummer's perspective. So you're wearing 2 hats, one as a managing director, but also, most importantly, from a drummer's perspective, because we're serving, which I think is a very great and fantastic market. And we have to make sure that what goes out there does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, because there's, I don't know about you guys, but I do see a lot of hard cases, especially like the hardware cases. People use them for many numerous things, not drums or hardware. You know,
a lot of the hardware boxes are used for backline companies. So they put highlights, they put the multi-cores in 16 floor tom cases. All the backline companies will use it for mic stands. I mean, I've been in several bands myself, toured quite a bit around the UK. We've always used like 48, 52-inch hardware cases to take mic stands, speaker stands, a couple of traps cases to throw all the cables in, the plug boards, multi-core, saying 16 floor tom cases. Then you've got the drum kit all covered in hard case as well. So that's why I say it's a generic product, because it's not just purely down to drums. That's our bread and butter, but you can adapt the products to cover other things as well. In an ideal world, we'd love to have a product design for every single thing out there, but it's just physically not possible to do that. Hence the generic design, you know. So yeah, we're very proud of that. Very proud of that.
We've got some lovely comments about Hardcase, and we've got some Bopworks as well. So AJ saying, "Love my Hardcases. Dave's such a top guy." 2 claps, only 2, only two. Richie Burns, love the Hardcase, best cases ever. I have a set in white. Don't get them too dirty now. Only take them out after Labor Day, isn't it, or something? Yeah, so the people are loving about their cases, and also Bopworks. So we've got Kenneth Everett saying, "Hi, I have a pair of these sticks, nice and light, and bought them, recommended by Rob Bryant, and played them in a folk jam before nice tonal values." So there we are. What's to say? Hi, Paul Edmonds is watching as well. So obviously these products. Oh, there's another. He's put one more clap in, but obviously is that one clap? Is he taking one away from the 2, or is it 3? David Stevenson, hi. Thanks very much for watching again. Again, if you're watching for the first time, please go to the Palace Drum Clinic Facebook page and like our page, because you get more of this fantastic things going. Oh, we've got one Pete now. Oh, got no Pete's. Pete's gone.
No, I thought 2 is too many. I felt like I was, kind of dominating proceedings in an unfair fashion. So.
That's okay.
So just stick with the phone and see how that holds out.
See, Pete got his eyes done, and now he's basically can find everything now, so he's just playing with it. I'll leave that to imagination. Kenneth said, "My 18 main pits fixed the hard case and is well protected. Would like to expand the range." Well, yeah, won't we all? But don't worry for the moment, because you're not going anywhere at the moment. So just just buy when you can. With all these kind of products, I think it's interesting to say, the whole kind of process. It's not a lot of people actually know the process. They just go basically walk into a shop, or at the moment, so there's a lot of stuff online. But please go into the shops, guys. They need your support. Is that they literally like see something on the shelf and they take it off and then they go home. Being recommended by something. But the whole process of it. Chris, you were saying obviously you were collecting drums and sticks, from different things. You just showed us the Mel Lewis ones. But the whole process. What actually has the process literally from tree to drummer? How many processes are in that?
Well, man, in the old days, we used to have to go into the forest with an axe, and we'd have to, chop off the branches and then take them home and whittle them to get the sticks. So it's come a long way since that. I'll be here all week.
You don't do that anymore?
No, my students will want to know how to do that. Still, like an 8-year-old, and you go, "What's that thing you do when you?" And so I don't know. Yeah. So back to the question. What we use, and Dave will know what the OEM company, original equipment manufacturer. So our sticks are made for us. And the company that did the primary turning, as they like to say, was Kingfield Wood Products in Maine. They initially made products for Vic Firth back in probably the late 70s. And so Vic would go up and he'd, tweak the sticks and make sure everything was okay. And then as his line progressed, he was able to afford a factory and all the other things. We're not anywhere big enough to do that. So there are a few, quote, OEM guys, Frank Kinsell at LA Backbeat in Louisiana, who also makes like really killer sticks. He makes our Art Blakey for us. So all these guys, small guys, so they have older machinery like Vader and Vic Firth. Who's left? Promark. They're all using grinding stones, right, that are in the shape of the stick and turning, and that's more efficient. You don't have to sharpen them like you would knives. So that's the process. Ignore that.
That wasn't even a joke. Ba-boom ching.
I know, it was like. So anyway, yeah, you put them on the lathe. They shape the stick, and then there's a tip chuck, and it shapes the right. But these are all old machinery that they don't really make anymore. So particularly like the Birdland, other companies won't necessarily do that, because by the time you get to by the time you get down here, right, this is a chunk here and a chunk here. By the time you get here, the stick's going to get what they call chatter, and it'll snap off. So a lot of that depends on the operator, right? And then, there's plenty of videos on the Firth and Promark websites as to how they, do the processing. But then it's your choice of hickory. And like Pete said, you can get, 8 pairs of sticks, and there's going to be inconsistency. And they may be weighed and matched per pair, but that doesn't mean that you're always going to get consistent. Unless you get Bopworks, because we weigh each stick to the gram and when we pair them up. So that was a good plug. So anyway, that's the deal. And if you go back and you look, because I'm officially a drumstick nerd at this point, if you go back and you start looking at some of the older sticks, those guys knew what they were doing. They had a better choice of wood. They actually finished them after they turned the stick, they'd actually put wood putty and sand that off so there was no grain exposed. So they were really kind of artisan sticks in a way. They weren't pitched, but Some of the stuff's pretty impressive if you look at it.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Diverted totally from the question, but okay.
Dave, I'm going to come to you because obviously, you know, sticks have been around, so for a little bit longer than Hardcase, hasn't it? So the whole process of Hardcase is actually quite interesting, and we had a question from Richie Burns: is that would you actually do factory tours to actually see these products being made?
It's something we're starting to consider. There were some things we've got on the back burner, but then COVID-19 put paid to quite a lot of things that we were planning to do. So at the moment, we've had to shelve a few projects just to try and rebuild and make sure we can get through this difficult time. We're all looking to take some promotional videos so people can see how, if they need to replace a strap or a handle, we can go to put something together, put that online so you can just automatically see that. Because we've got stuff that we can send out, but like me, I like to see it being done, and that's all. So we do artist tours. Rob knows, Rob's been a couple of times.
Yeah.
We're trying to get more dealers to come to the factory, because I think it's important for us that they understand the products and understand the process. And yeah, we would probably maybe have some open days when we can open it up to the general public, then you just come and have a look and see how it's made, because a lot of people are a misconception about Hardcase. They think it comes out of plastic sheets, and it doesn't. It's actually like baking a cake. We buy in powdered polyethylene, and we actually melt it like chocolate inside a steel tool. And it's, people think when they say rotational molder, that's a process that we use. They think it's spun like centrifugal force really, really fast. It isn't. It's spun very, very slowly. So as it liquefies, as we're heating the tool up, it sticks to this inside of the case, and then you get a solid product from a small pile of powder, really. But people think we vac form it. We don't. We actually mold it from powder. It's like a baking process. When people come, I always use food as an analogy, because you making bread, then you're melting chocolate, you get a cake at the end of it. That's exactly what it's like with Hardcase. But that's why we don't stock anything. We make everything to order, because it's so bulky. We have to make sure the stock remains liquid. So that's what we turn around. But our turnaround is normally 10 days. We're very proud of that. Very quick. And that's anything from the black products through all the 11 colours now. It's all done at the same time.
Yeah, so I was just going to mention the colours, because obviously it's easier for you to actually, if you just had that black product, and it's like if you just bent it out of the black material, then you couldn't do all the colours, because obviously you have the different colours and different powders, don't you?
The colours came about when I first started. We had 3 colours, and we had the granite range, which we called Hard Rock at the time, because it was a granite effect. And I said to the then boss, I said, look, we've got to do something different here. What about the backline companies, the people that store the gear? So like the Matt Snowballs and the John Henrys and all this sort of stuff. These guys using a lot of gear, and they've got kits going all over the place. So they might have a Yamaha kit, they might have a Premier kit, they might have a Gretsch kit. They're all in black cases, and they haven't marked up. They're thinking, which case is it in? So why don't we try and evolve the colours? So I know that a lot of the backline companies now have maybe got a yellow kit and it's got a Yamaha set in it, and then they'll have a dark blue kit which has got a Gretsch, and then they've probably got a Tama kit and a red set. So that's helped them enormously. They went, whoa, this is brilliant. We've got all these choices. But then people out in the general public said, wow, we want this as well. So I know lots of people have got maybe 1 or 2 kits, maybe a gigging kit. There might be a recording studio, or they might have the prize possession which they've saved the money for, stuck in a storage facility, but they want to protect it. So they've got different coloured kits to identify their particular setups. But that's how the colours came about, and they proved to be incredibly popular. Absolutely, really popular. That's not just in the UK; that's globally.
Yeah, no, as I say, we've seen the rise basically of all the different stuff, because obviously you can almost date your stuff by the handles and the shape and everything else, can't you? So it's fantastic. I want to come talk to Robert and Pete. Pete, how important is cases to your sort of drumming ventures?
I wouldn't put my drums in anything else. And Hardcase was revolutionary I remember the first time I put a set of drums in hard cases on an aeroplane, and it was in about I know exactly when it was. It was in 1995, and suddenly the worry about baggage handlers and things like that, and having to get having to hire flight cases or even buy flight cases. Hardcase put an end to that. I took my drums to Japan and toured my drums all around Japan for 5 weeks. The drums were in hard cases, and the hardware was in an old-fashioned, the old-fashioned type fiber case, which practically melted during the course of the tour. But just to know, if you've got a set of drums you really care about, and you've got to transport it somewhere where it's out of your hands, either with a road crew or in an aeroplane, if you've got them in hard cases, you can sleep at night because you know they're going to be fine, and they're not going to come home with lumps knocked out of them. And to me, it was from that point of view. And I was just doing a little kind of head count around my room here, and I can see 14 hard cases immediately, and plus the marvelous stacking drum trolley, which for anybody who works in London will know what an absolute lifesaver, game-changing product that was, where you can just stack your drums on a trolley, and they're all kind of meshed together because of the way the cases work, and just push them down the street. And with the increasing challenges of parking cars in big cities, where you've got to take your own drums, where there's no in-house backline, things like that have completely changed the way we work. So thanks, Dave.
Well, that's great to know, because, as I said, that when you hear people like yourself, Pete, and Rob, and some, all the other great drummers out there that support Hardcase, that's the same response we get every time. There's other products out there which, don't get me wrong, they're fantastic. They're really great, whether it's a rigid case or it's a soft bag. Each one's got its own little niche, and I feel as though where we are in the marketplace, one, we're British, and two, we get fantastic support, because we try, not only do we make a product, we try and back it up with the same aftercare support. That's vitally important, and that's something I've learned a lot of hard lessons over the years. Support the product, because if something goes wrong, it can soon knock you straight back down again. So you support it, make sure you go do the right thing by the end user. You support them, they'll support you, and the life will continue to grow, and it develops that. And that's the philosophy of Hardcase. Support the products, support the end user, because they're the guys out on the street working. They've got the valuable gear. They don't want to get to a gig and be trashed, because then that's their livelihood. They're knackered. So it's important that they do that. But it's like with the soft bag guys, there's a niche for it. So if you have a particular style, or you maybe on a gig once or twice a month, that's ideal. It's perfect for what you want to do. But if you're in a touring environment, a rigid case is probably the best choice for most people, and it's not for me to say what you have. It's you to make as an individual, but we believe that we've got a product out there that's probably one of the best in the world, and we support that with our aftercare sales.
Well, as I say, I totally agree with everything I said. Rob, you're obviously renowned for looking after your drums so superbly well.
There's be a story there.
Yeah, here we go. That's an in-marrow joke.
That's my wife's marrow. There you go.
Pete, do you want to show us that while you got it in your hand, or?
This is one of the old school fiber type cases, which just got a tiny bit of water. I'm sure you can't really see it clearly on the screen.
We can see it quite well, actually.
Tiny bit of water on this corner, and it's just completely gone out of shape.
Yeah.
And if you've got some fabulous, your favorite ride cymbals living in here, and say that this was, it wasn't in a flood or a puddle. There was just a little bit of ingress of water where this cymbal case was stored, and it's just completely lost its shape altogether. And you can't do that with a fiber case, with a hard case.
No.
Thanks for showing that, Pete.
Just happened to be here. It wasn't. It was entirely Hey, look, I improvise for a living. It was entirely impromptu.
It was. I went for the marrow. He went for the case.
Yeah. We just had Martin Ollie said that looks like an old Spalding Russell, Pete.
It probably is. It doesn't have it. You know, they went through various incarnations and different brand names, but there were quite a few on the market back in the 70s that all look the same size. It probably is. It hasn't got its badge on it anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Coming back to you, Rob, with your pristine care of your drums. Obviously, you've actually got your own pull-up for the Hardcase, haven't you? Because I remember the first one was like, oh, hang on, as Rob with Hardcase. It's obviously. Pete's talked about sort of, the actual working on the, pushing down the street, the touring kind of side.
Yeah.
But how important is the cases kind of thing for you actually in the studio as well?
I mean, every time I go into the studio, I always think, oh my God, I've just posted another picture of a bunch of cases. But the thing is, I'll show the picture of the studio empty, work begins. The next picture is always there. It's my drums with the hard cases. It's the same difference, whether I'm taking them or someone's taking them for me, it's got to be in a hard case. When I flew all the way to Brazil, the very first gig we did with Lorena and DW Get Me Some Gear, and I think I sent Dave the picture. I turned up at the venue, went backstage, and there, lo and behold, was a bunch of hard cases with the DW kit. It was like home from home. They're just everywhere because I think that the term is industry standard. I think that's what they've become. So yeah, I mean, I will never travel. I must confess, the Ford S Max gets a bit of a bashing, but I don't use soft cases anymore for anything, even local little jazz gigs. I just keep them in the hard cases now because I'm so careful, Matt, as you know, and I place them in the car gently.
Yes.
And the thing is, like Pete was saying, when you're at Heathrow Airport and you look out the window and you suddenly double check and you see the baggage handlers going, and you're like, that's my drum. That's my cymbals. I can just go, you have to throw a bit harder than that, mate, because you're not even going to touch it. It's the confidence. It's the confidence you have. So like Dave said, there's a niche market for everything. And I've got some soft cases that are fantastic. But yeah, no, not for the last sort of 10 years. Everything's been in hard cases. I just won't travel without them.
Yeah, just a few hellos. Paul Lund saying hello. Joe says that. Oh, Martin I say, can I give Dave a special thank you for sorting out the bass drum case for me recently? Vast improvement. Thanks, Dave. We also have one from Glyn Jones. I phoned up once to order a clip that broke and they sent me one free of charge in exchange for $5.99. So that was great. It was brilliant. Now, the kind of, obviously, with all manufacturing, especially ones that are small, because although you guys, Hardcase and Bopworks, you are international brands, but you're still a small brand because obviously there's a certain people that work for you, and how important is your artists to you? Or Chris, I want to come to you first. How important is your artist to basically use your sticks and the actual rapport and reactions and reviews that you get from sticks? How important to you is Bopworks?
It's vital. I doubt we could have kept going without drummers like Rob, and just getting the word out. That's why we're still in business. It has, initially, and I'm sure Dave, well, we all remember, the reviews and new product reviews, which still show up, but I don't, and this is another topic, but I don't think drum reviews at this particular time in a magazine really, how many times you're going to be able to read warm, woody sound with a slight attack it's like reading a wine description. I don't think that holds. So customers, vital, what they post, and a lot of the emails we get, it's like, thank you, it's making my K sound, amazing, or I can use these on a gig where I normally always have to play brushes, and I always try and answer everybody back and thank them, because it's we aren't anywhere near as big as like Hardcase. This is pretty much so. And it was never my intention to go into the drumstick business anyway. There's a bunch of retail jokes I could tell you about that. So this was sort of, synchronicity, and a lot of the customers are the reason that we kept going and adding new models. And
So how did you start getting those customers from obviously your initial idea of getting these done to actually where you are now? How did that evolve? And so I basically accumulate, so the stone gathering moss and all that rolling down the hill.
I couldn't get, well, I'd say I could only get one or two shops to actually carry the stick, because they were, untried, new product. How long are these guys going to be in business? What's their support? What's their turnaround time? So I had to do it online, and I just sent samples out to a lot of the drum shops and went to the shows, the NAMM shows, and eventually it worked out that way. So it was actually customers coming into the shops asking for them.
What time scale was that actually from the concept to getting to like many orders kind of thing?
Probably a year and a half, 2 years.
Very good. Yeah, it's very good.
And
So, if you've got a good product, obviously, as long as it's marketed well, it's gonna do well. But I think a lot of people do underestimate the hard work that goes behind the scenes of everything. Because obviously, as the Palace Drum Clinic, obviously they see us now on every Saturday, and I appreciate everyone for watching, including Dave Lipson. Hello, thanks for watching. But it's there's many things that happens throughout the week. Throughout it's like the month. We're at the moment it's like we've got some amazing things coming up. The next 6 months, the year, 2 years. But it's the long haul, isn't it? You can't go, it's like, oh, well, I'll try it for a couple of months. If it doesn't work, then it's like, oh, well, maybe it won't work. It's, because there's knockbacks, I suppose, in that kind of, you get many sales and then you don't you? So was there kind of, within that year and a half, was there kind of a point where you was going, is this going to work, or should I just focus somewhere else?
No. I kept getting more and more encouraged. And I think the Art Blakey was the first one that we did. But so that took a lot of work negotiating with the state, the estate, and the agreements, et cetera, et cetera. So I was pretty driven at that point, because I was sort of convinced that, particularly with you remember in the 2000s, there was big resurgence of boutique cymbals. So it seemed to be a good tie-in. So. And plus, it's like I started talking to younger students, and they're going, Art Blakely? And it was like, oh, shoot. So it just occurred to me that, the succeeding generations, people are going to start forgetting this stuff, or, Shelley's been gone, early 80s maybe? So his wife, Flip, is the one who actually sent me the Shelley sticks. And when we were doing that, we were donating the licensing to the LA Jazz Foundation. So that's kind of want to hopefully get that going again. But yeah,
we've got a question, Chris, from Jim as a Renner, hopefully. Chris, how challenging it is to break into big box stores like Guitar Center or Sweetwater, etc., or do you prefer to remain as is?
We can't produce the quantities right now that Guitar Center or Sweetwater would be interested in, and a lot of that has to do with the supply chain and and the guys making our sticks, how many they can get out. And then the other major stick companies have it's like a grocery store. I don't know if it's like that in the UK, where you get positioning on the shelves, right? If you have your cereal, you jockey for position. So it would be currently it's been next to impossible to get into the box stores. And so it's always been drum shops. And Andy at ADC in Liverpool has been really, in case anybody's wondering where you can get the sticks in the UK, he's been great. I mean, he's been one of our biggest supporters, and people in Europe can contact him.
Yeah, so that's Andy at ADC up in Liverpool. Great. Guys, if you've got any more fantastic questions to ask the panel, please put them in the comment box. And again, as I say, if you haven't, because I see a lot of new people logging on to watch, thank you very much for logging on and watching. If you haven't liked the Palace Drum Clinic Facebook site, Twitter and Instagram as well, Instagram or the website, please do now. We can wait, it's not a problem, we've got all night. So please do that. But please keep your questions coming, just put them in the comment box. Dave, you obviously, you originally said that obviously you started out as a salesman, but obviously, as the drummer kind of point of view. Do you have any, did you have, or do you still get suggestions from your artists? And maybe it's like the people off the street as well, that you think, oh, that's a really good idea. Let's see if we can actually make this into reality.
Yeah, all the time. Basically, probably the best example with the 9 sim and the 12 sim. They were generated. They started through ideas from the general public, because we only had the one carry case, and they said, well, we needed one on a trolley. So that's how they came about. So we did the 22-inch, the 9 sim 22, and then we had a request for somebody. I think it was Picey at the time, was doing a 24 ride. About the only one you could get on the market, and says we need a case for it. So I thought, why don't we just elaborate on this particular case, make it slightly bigger, same concept design, and that flies out the door now. So because more and more people, especially with these boutique single companies, they're all doing 24s, and those are from customers. Like Chris said, the artist support for us is paramount, because they're the guys out there, and the end users are the guys out there using the products. So we get lots of people, we get some quite nasty comments. I won't lie to you, but we have to try and deal with it professionally. And we get we get fantastic, positive feedback. And people say, well, what about tweaking that? What about tweaking this? So like, the hand wheel on the cymbal cases, the yellow one? Yeah. Well, that was Mr. Jeff Davenport, that came up with that idea. He says, why do you have something that's yellow? It's like, yeah, we've been doing it in black for all these years. So good on Jeff, because Jeff's a massive supporter, he's like, and I always try and give credit where credit's due, because he said, look, we didn't tell us about the design. He said, why would you have it yellow? Because if it gets lost, you can see it. Great idea. So yes, it's important that we listen to what people have to say. Again, that's when I put my drummer's hat on, thinking, well, how would that affect me? And I think, yeah, that's a really good idea. But then on the other hand, we also get some ideas which are just physically not possible to do, and because that it's more of a personal requirement for somebody, and it's not something that's been more generalized. So you have to be very careful how you handle these things, but any input is vitally important to Hardcase, because without that, we don't know how the products are working, if they're doing the job correctly. Do we need to tweak this? Do we need to tweak that? Do we need to put that in at all? Do we need to take it out? It all depends. The only thing that we have to do is we can't do something overnight, because the tooling investment for us is very high, because everything is manufactured out of steel. Right. We do aluminium, but it costs twice as much as steel, and steel's still very expensive. So we have to take it away, get it CAD designed, test it, make sure we can get an even flow of the plastic, because if we don't get the plastic to flow, waste of time. There's no point having the tooling. So you could end up losing like tens of thousands of pounds on a tool that you can't use. So we have to take things very, very carefully. So like the cymbal cases I mentioned a bit earlier, I think it took us 3 years.
Yeah, it's a long time, isn't it? Yeah, it's a long time. Concept to product, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like the cajon case. Somebody says, why do you do a cajon case? A standard cajon, 30, 50 in size. Yeah, why not? We did the Hardcase. That's been fantastic. That's been out now for 4 years, 2.5 years from original concept to actually get it onto the testing stage. We had all the major. We spoke to all the major con manufacturers, and they said, "Yeah, we could do it." There's lots of different shapes and sizes, but we think you should just stick to the basic size. Best decision ever. Because you can make tooling for everything, and maybe sell one product. It's just a waste of time. So, you know, and like, you know, Chris mentioned about OEM as well. We do a bit of OEM for 2 major cymbal brands. It's great to do that because they recognize what qualities we can bring to the marketplace, and they wanted to bring it into their range. I think it's limited. It's not, they don't do massive amount, but it's enough to make a difference, you know. But yeah, end user feedback is so important to us. Artist support and feedback is so important to us, you know. So that's why we, you know, we do whole bunch of people like Rob, because it gives us so much feedback.
I should have had it up here, Dave. I should have had it.
Yeah. No, you don't want to hide all the dinky toys and all that stuff, though. That's important.
That's true. That's true. My geek seal. Yes.
Yeah. And how's the wine rack in a drum case coming? Is that working for you, Rob?
Well, I've got one in the garage, but I can never keep filling it up quick enough, Matt.
Richie Burns said he did see his snare drum hardcase come out of the aircraft mid-air. Blimey, so about like 15,000 feet. Bang on the floor, case all padded inside, no damage to the drum. Excellent product, Dave. I hope that's mid-air, maybe on the floor, come off the conveyor belt. Could have done some damage. Ron, was it Dean Jellis? Wow, hello, Pete Cater.
Hello, Ron.
There we are. He's watching. Russell, Kenneth. Yes, it is ADC Drums up in Liverpool. They're online. Go and get your drum. He said he's had some 9 years. So I think just as a new 9 years. You've done well with 9 years.
Wow.
Andy.
Blimey. Yeah, you definitely need a new pair. Put those in a frame on the wall if it's 9 pair. Pete, how much input do you give with yours? Like, because obviously you have a few endorsements. Are you one to basically offer advice and it's like maybe it's like twinges here and there kind of stuff, which you see maybe could work better for you maybe and the companies?
Very, very occasionally, but you know, as Dave has articulated so clearly, it's about, you know, doing things that are going to have enough uptake from the end user to be worthwhile. I mean, I asked Dave about an absurd design for a case years ago, which was completely impractical. But it was just something I had in my mind, and but you know, because of the way hard cases are manufactured, which he's very clearly explained, it wouldn't have been something that would have been viable to do. But I mean, for me, I'm not. I'll always give, you know, positive feedback where it's due, and if I've got an idea about something, I'll often field it. But you know, the best compliment any performer can give to a manufacturer is to just continually use and the products, acknowledge how much benefit they bring to us, because you know, what do we as working players want from products? We want things that make our lives easier, and you know, that make our working day as stress-free an environment as it's possible for it to be. And as I mentioned, you know, I'm particularly fond of the drum trolley that Dave brought out quite a few years ago now. And you know, there's just like so many simple things that other companies might have got wrong. The casters are big enough to do the job. There's a brake on one of the casters, so you can actually put your foot on the brake and it'll stay still. It won't run away from you. It's just, you know, simple but completely effective and well thought out. And that to me is the hallmark of a good product. If it makes you know, if when it comes time to sit down and play some music, which is what we're all there for, if you haven't got to be worrying about peripheral stuff, then, you know, good products help us as artists to do our jobs better.
Rob, I'll come to you here. It's because obviously we've actually had many chats about certain things which I can't mention. But you know, how much input do you give into the companies that support you?
I think I said on one of these shows a few weeks ago, you know, EW Don it's an open door. You know, you would think he'd be too busy or couldn't be faffed to worry about what his drummers think. And we're talking at the moment about something which remains a secret, but you know, and he's more than open to ideas. And I just sent him another one saying, you know, Don, I've just got another idea. Sorry, I just have to throw this at you. And he gets back saying, sure, Rob, yeah, no, noted, it's on the list, you know, I'll let you know how that goes and we'll be in touch. And I think it's really important. And I check in with Dave every now and again and give him a call, you know, try and get him to come to some of the gigs if he's around and just say, by the way, you know, this new cymbal case is fantastic and nothing to report on the cases because they're just doing their job. And he's like, great, mate, I'm happy. And what's really important is, and we may have touched on this with the Dave Phillips thing, is after you've done that and, you know, you've had the community of, you're doing well, I love your cases, this is great. Then a good company always says, what do you need? And I think that's really important. And Dave and Dave, both Daves, Dave Phillips and Dave here today, and Chris said it a little while ago, what do you need? Let me know. Is there anything we can do? And that's really nice because you do all your bit and then there's that bit coming back as well. And if I do tend to throw something at them, oh, I need, you know, this stick to do this, or I need this, you know, like Pete K said a minute ago, they can say, actually, that's not possible, Rob, because, you know, and you think, oh, yeah, I was dreaming. But thanks for listening and, you know, thanks for the feedback and I'll bear that in mind. But yeah, when they come back and said, right, glad you're happy, but is there anything else you need? I think that's wonderful. And Remo do that. All the companies I work with is hence why we all work with these companies we love. That's the sort of feedback you need, you know, that relationship goes both ways. So yeah, people do listen, but sometimes it's just my ideas are a bit too silly.
Yeah, like the actual fridge and the wine cooler.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I've got other ones, but I can't talk about them.
Richard Burns says, must look into the drum trolley. Sounds good. There we are.
Yes. Could you, Dave? Could you do something like that? Do you think maybe?
Leave it with me. I'll get back to you.
Yeah. I'll send you an email.
Here's one idea from Jim. He said, for Dave, have you considered a stair climber, 3-wheel configuration for equipment cases? Stairs are tough on an old guy. We'll get a young guy to do it first of all. But yeah, stair climbers is obviously those three. Basically, they just go and you keep pushing.
Yeah.
But I suppose you know, you got the trolley. You know, you need to find ramps. But I suppose it's endless, isn't it? It's like, you know, you get ideas and it's like, you know, is it possible, stuff like that. But you know, it's
the biggest problem that we have is actually because we say we use steel tooling, and the actual manufacturing process, as we have like these boom arms with tables on them that spin, hence the rotational molding. But then they're then cocooned in an oven. Now you're limited to sizes as well, because tooling, the bigger it gets, the more expensive it becomes, like most things. But then you've got the other problems you've got to think about is material flow. Can you get the right thickness? Can you get the right airflow around it? Because if you don't get the airflow around it, you get one side that's thin and one side that's incredibly thick. And that becomes more and more apparent on the bigger tooling that you get. So like we do the 26-inch bass drum case, we do the large 58-inch hardware case. They're pretty much to the limits of our capabilities at the moment, you know. And as much as I'd like to see somebody, yeah, great idea, but it's finding the tooling that we could design, because if you're trying to do something that's going to help you get upstairs, it's going to be possibly slightly awkward to mold, because we're good at making circles and we're good at making straight lines, but when you have to try and do something that's a bit more acute, you lose the material flow. So I'll certainly have a look to see if there's anything we could do with the existing tooling, but I don't think there's something that we could do. But the only thing I would say is probably get some lighter drum stands.
Yay!
I've done that. I've got the Yamaha Crosstown. It's great, but it's a very difficult one because you want to try and support everybody and produce something that's going to meet everybody's needs. But it's looking at the practicalities and is there actually going to be big enough sales to warrant to pay for tooling? It's a difficult one, you know. But again, any ideas? We always look at every idea that comes through the door and we'll say yay or nay, you know. So you never know. What is this space?
I must admit those drum trolleys. I've actually used them not to carry drums, as actually I carry other stuff because they're so robust. They're absolutely brilliant. Yeah, not just for drums, not just for drummers. That's really good. Chris, with all this, like, obviously you've got your artists, you know, sort of sticks. Is there an artist that you can't actually maybe recreate because you haven't got the stick or you haven't got the copyright to or anything like that?
An artist that we cannot.
Yeah, so you know, because obviously you've gone for historical drummers. You know, just off the top of so, you know, Buddy obviously was, you know, he basically used to get 100 pairs of sticks apparently from Ludwig because he used to only find one straight pair in the whole bunch. You know, well, I won't exactly say because well, we could, but I'm not going to be mum's watching. But you know, is there kind of like, would you like to reproduce all of the old classic ones that people used on, or is there just only limitations to obviously what people played on, and obviously you know maybe copyright's still there or so forth?
Well, yeah, I think the primary thing with that is the artist's estate, and a lot of times you have to track down who actually is running the estate. We tried that with a Philly Joe Jones model, and we couldn't make contact there. The Buddy stick, of course, as you all know, went through a lot of mutations. I mean, it was pretty much like a 5A. I think so the Buddy sticks that I do have, I mean, they kind of mutate slightly, and then the Ludwig stick with which bears a remarkable resemblance to our Memphis R&B, by the way, if you were just kind of looking to kind of see the design. Yeah, so it's. Yeah, that's probably the toughest one because since he went through so many companies and so many changes, he had a lot of sticks made for him, like Jack's Drum Shop in Boston, which became Vader. They would actually turn a lot of sticks for those guys, kind of just as gestures, I guess. And so a lot of times the endorsements didn't necessarily match up. Another, you know, Sid Catlett, Big Sid would be a great one to do. There's a whole bunch of guys that I would love to do. The question, you know, is the estate and then the expense of having, you know, the knives made, and is there a market? Is there, you know, would people actually care if there was a Sid Catlett or a Dave Tuff? I don't actually know if they had a signature model. So
I suppose it's quite hard because some of these guys literally just played stock, didn't they? So they didn't actually ask for signature models, did they?
No, and you know, like we said, they didn't always match up, and just like everybody here, you can take any stick and play with it. You're going to get your sound, I think, you know, within reason. So it becomes confusing because there's so many models on the market now. You know, all the companies are making really good sticks. To Dave's point, I actually have some Premier sticks, which you're talking about, that were made out of lance wood, and they're great. I got, you know, so I wish Premier would be, you know, start doing those because I have no idea. I guess Pete could tell me what's going on with Premier at another time, but that's kind of it, you know. I think Joe Jones, I have a whole list, but yeah, that's for when things improve economically.
Yeah. Is there one that you just, you know, if you had to literally just do one, could you actually name that one?
Ew. I would say the Sid Catlett one, simply because it's a really cool stick. So
watch this space.
Yeah, watch the space. And to that other point, Leedy used to make a stick called the Super Balance, which had a taper towards the butt end too. And Slingerland did it for a while. So you'd have the fulcrum slightly wider, but when you were playing the stick, you felt like you had a lot of meat here, almost like you're playing a 5/8, but the thinness of the butt end actually kind of made the thing feel really good. So I would like to do some of those. I was kind of impressed with a lot of the models that they actually came out with. Hardcase, same idea. Pete was showing that old fiber case that I see those in old drum catalogs back in the 40s. So kudos to Dave for actually bringing something into the 21st century. Yeah.
Well, it is, but it doesn't feel like 21st century at the moment, does it? So, yeah. Ray Slatterworth is watching as well. Thank you very much, Ray. Question, Chris, are you involved in brushes at all?
We are. We have a pair that we call spread lock brushes that are made for us by the Brushfire Company, and they are the older gauge wire, thinner gauge wire. I think it's 12. And the guy who owns Brushfire is Tom Osborne. He was actually brother of Donny Osborne, drummer. And then Tom Osborne so he actually worked at Slingerland. So he actually made the brushes when Slingerland was in full bloom. So we're out of them right now. We're waiting for things to clear up in Chicago. But yeah.
Did I see a pair of Brushfire there, Pete?
I can't remember what make these, but this is a very very retro kind of brush. It's like the old. It's very reminiscent of the old Ludwig model, and I can't remember. It was something like Model 194, and I did actually get these. Did actually come from ADC.
They look like the ones I play on, which are the Brushfire ones.
Okay.
Some of the best brushes I think I've ever played on.
These are very, 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 very light. I mean, a little too light for my big hands, but the dynamic control finesse. In bucket loads.
Yeah, I must admit, I got overexcited one. I think I could have been playing the brush thing with you, Peter, one of the clinics. I can't retract one of them now because it was that question. It's like, I can't play out loud with brushes. Well, you can. It's just it's just how you do it.
That's like one of the old traditional grip non-debates.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, there's no power in traditional grip." Yes, there is if you do it properly. There's just as much power in traditional grip as there is in match grip.
Yeah.
But that's one of those kind of lost secrets of those drummers, guys of the Sid Catlett, the Joe Jones era, these amazing names that Chris is talking about, and it's what I like is that with what he's doing with the Bopworks sticks, he's helping the legacy of these founding fathers of our instrument to endure a little longer, and I'm very up on these great historic figures being not just remembered but revered for their immeasurable contributions to the art of playing, to the art of music in a broader sense. It's without what those drummers were doing from the 1920s and 1930s onwards, the whole role of drums and percussion in popular music would probably be something completely different. We'd probably all just be playing cajons all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, which Dave's done a great thing on cases, so he'll
Yes,
be all right.
right.
Yeah.
I was going to come in when you were talking about cases, and you know why they. One thing you can do with a hard case that you can't do with a soft bag is if you get to a studio and the engineer is so bad that he can't mic your bass drum or get a decent sound out of it, just put the pedal up to the bass drum case and play that instead. Even the worst engineer you ever came across can get a sound out of an empty bass drum case, but you can't do that with a soft bag.
That's true.
Something that the point that Christian you've made, Pete, there about the brushes and the people playing traditionally as well, and there's not power. One name that Chris mentioned quite a bit was Art Blakey, one of my all-time favourite drummers.
Is that him now?
That's him now, yeah.
I think
And that press roll that he did, got to be one of the loudest press rolls ever.
Yeah.
Played traditionally, he could just pull it from nothing to this almighty crescendo. It's like, whoa, man, that was just class, absolute class.
Yeah, and viewers at home, if you don't know what Dave is talking about, buy this record by Mobley called Soul Station, which was recorded this very week. I've only had a distance lens implant. I haven't got my close-up lens yet, so I can't read the small print on the back of the album.
He's going bionic. He's going bionic with his eyes.
1960 something, and Art Blakey to me, probably his best outing on a record as a sideman rather than as a leader. It's just, you know,
brilliant.
It is the book of jazz drumming. You know, if you don't know that, you don't know the drums as well as perhaps you might.
there's still a chance. You can always take lessons, right?
Yeah.
Always perpetual students. What's the phrase? Like when you think you know everything, you don't know nothing, or something like that, isn't it? Drum Depot, huge love and respect for Hardcase International Limited. Our #1 selling case is Dave is an absolute legend, massive support of the industry, loving your work, Dave, man. You see, AJ, he's given a heart instead of a clap, so there we go, that's how to do it. Richie Burnside, Dave, how about a pack and roll case that takes you snare drum and the whole, like the old Premier used to do?
Well, Pete's asked for this before.
Right.
Didn't you start this about a couple of years ago, Pete? It was.
What it was. I mean, when I travel, which nobody's traveling at the moment, but you know, I don't do a huge amount of traveling. But when I do, I take a second suitcase, and finding a suitcase that's big enough to accommodate snare drum, cymbals, the 3 planks of wood that I famously put under my snare drum stand, some basics of hardware like a bass drum pedal, a lightweight snare drum stand, and your peripheral bits and pieces. What I do is I put all that into a regular suitcase, and it's not a perfect solution. So what I did talk to Dave about a few years ago was something that would do that with like compartments in it, but the compartments I think are the issue where the tooling and the manufacturer is concerned.
That's correct, because we couldn't mold the compartment, so we were
no, sure, exactly.
Do the stuff with like an MDF board system. So again, that was something that was on the project list to consider, because we've had not many requests, but we've probably had maybe a few requests. We could probably do something out of an existing product. So that is something that we've got on the project list. So you never know, we might be able to just revamp something like that, because we've had a couple of requests. But Pete was one of the first ones to ask that. But probably about 5 years ago, I think, Pete, wasn't it? Something like that, 4 or 5 years ago.
It was, and it was because I was going to China for Premiere, and I just and you know, if you're traveling and you're going business class or premium economy, and you can get to take 2 full-size suitcases, then that's a done deal. But if you've only got one, to try and put a snare drum, cymbals, a bit of hardware and some spare drum heads and all your clothes and your toiletries all in one suitcase. It starts to get a bit tricky. But it probably was when I went to Shanghai for Premiere that first time. That's 5 years ago. But the other application I see for that now, particularly in a city like London, where you can't go pretty soon you're not going to be able to get a car inside the north and south circular roads without being, having most of your gig fee taken off you. So for drummers where there's house backline, but they just want their breakables and their personal stuff, just to be able to do it in one case that you can take on the tube. I think it certainly will be a growth area as far as the market's concerned.
Yeah. Also, watch this space.
Yeah.
Right, I will. I'll watch that space right there. I should watch you with my brand new bionic distance vision right eye.
I'll speak to Pete to get some more ideas about it, mate. I promise.
All right. Yeah. You know what it's going to be.
Make sure you have a button to change the wheels to skis for all the steps, Slow. I think that might be a key.
Or use a lift.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks, guys, for all your questions. Keep coming in, because I say we've only got a quarter of an hour now. These things do go very, very quickly, especially if you're watching back home. It just seems to zip past. So please put your comments in, because I say we've only got a quarter of an hour now, especially to our special guests, Dave and Chris here. So please put your comments in and ask the questions when you can. I think that's the best thing, when you can. So obviously these guys are always available to us, but obviously you've got them here in the palm of your hand. It's that kind of thing where for me and so all the stuff, it's choice, isn't it? Because obviously we've got two, we've got two products here, two fantastic, producers of sticks, and obviously the cases. But there's choices. Do you find that the competition is hard, or is it basically a community that works together and basically start helping each other out in, for instance, Chris, you've got quite a niche kind of way. I know I'm just looking at my rudiment chart. It has to be a Vic Firth one. They've got so many different sticks, they've got so many different artists, but they're current artists. So what you're doing is a fantastic thing. Preserving what people used, and so people can actually almost find out how it felt and stuff like that. Do you find that there's some it's less competitive, but it's more like the community that we are, because we are very friendly, but because obviously it's a sales community that you're in, do you find there's a lot of help from your other competitors, or is it just dog eats dog again?
Honestly, no. That I think that the market share is so important to the other companies as well, that we're just sort of an annoyance as opposed to
a very good annoyance, though. I'll put it that way.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I try and do whatever I can that well, but no, and we've had some run-ins, and we've also had some of our sticks kind of modeled a little bit. That's flattering. They've got the budget, they've got the marketing. This is pretty much it. So most of our support comes from the guys playing our sticks or the shops. And again, I'm not sure what's going on in the UK with the music stores, but they're dropping like dominoes here.
Yeah, unfortunately we are. Yeah, we're only down to a handful at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it's been tough, and I always encouraged people to buy from the shops, because those were vital. And you guys probably remember the old days when you could go into a drum shop and hang out and meet other drummers, and it, like you're talking about now, Matt, it was more of a social. Yeah. Right. But no. And it may not be in industry courtesy to say that, but yeah, I don't think Amazon has really put a dent in things for a lot of people. So
it's the Amazon thing, because everyone knows me. It's like I'm Bill Sanders is my man, and I was chatting to him about this kind of stuff, and it's the physical stock that you need to be on Amazon is ridiculous, isn't it? That because they think, oh yeah, oh so it's coming in a couple of weeks, it's not a problem, but it's because they've ran out of stock, and it's like the companies literally just bulk basically start giving Amazon because obviously it's a big warehouse and stuff like that, all comes directly, but they still have to have the stock to sell it. And obviously a company like you, you wouldn't have that stock, would you? You struggle. Do you find that obviously the internet is really obviously apart from the internet snails from yourself, it's killing this like the drum shop, especially where you are.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We do sell on Amazon, but it's a limited basis where we're just selling our product from Bopworks, right? So that we don't do like Amazon Prime where they store the stuff in the warehouse. And I'm always harping to people, go to a music store, man.
Yeah.
We're doing the Amazon thing out of, desperation because everybody's dropping, but I don't like it. I don't like the whole concept, and I don't like what it's done, to the shops here. It's just, so.
Because I was talking to Dave, and I'll ask the same to you, Dave. But I was talking to Dave before we came onto camera. Is that my father actually is his motorcycle. He's always been inside retail, and but he's a mechanic though. That's his main thing. And I can remember basically as a young nipper, basically, he used to get me work. It's not child labour. I enjoyed it, but it's of a Saturday when it's to go down. There used to be all the locals, all these kind of sort of mates used to come down. Sometimes they didn't even buy anything. It was because they all met at one particular place, and it happened to be my dad's workshop and his shop. And going to these drum stores, it's like that used to be the same kind of thing. You used to go in, and I think we chatted about this last week, didn't we, Pete, with Gary about the Birmingham.
They'd make you a cup of coffee or whatever, and you just hang out. And there wasn't any kind of pressure selling at all, and the whole retail landscape has changed beyond all. Anything that anyone of my considerable vintage would recognize. But, there are ways that we as individuals can address that. I've got a number of albums out under my own name. This one you can hear on Spotify. This one you can't. You can buy both of them on Amazon. I also have a DVD and a book. The only way you can get those on Amazon if you buy them directly from me. The records have sold multiple times more copies than either the book or the DVD have done. Because this one was recorded 20 years ago this week. This one was recorded a couple of years prior to that. So they've been around for 2 decades. But in 2 years of a DVD and 6 months of publishing this book, I've made more money out of these products than I ever made out of these records, because I've handled all the sales myself. Because I'm not, you're not talking about that tens of thousands of people are going to be buying one of my, DVDs or books or whatever I may choose to inflict upon an unsuspecting world next. But it's such a small concern. We can take care of it at home. So there's no distributor involved. There's no, there's no middleman who's, lying about how many copies they've sold or whatever, reporting to you. So, I stay out of the Amazon, Spotify type of world as much as I can. And it means, it means the revenue stream flows directly back to me, and it's not getting kind of dammed off anywhere in between the end user and me, the producer. So so I think where we're dealing with small scale niche enterprise, if we can handle as much of, I know it's a drag, I know it feels cool to say, oh, I've got to deal with a record label. I mean, these records were all done through, they weren't self-published, they were all done through record companies. They say, oh yeah, I've got to deal with so-and-so record label or so-and-so distributor or whatever. It's way cooler to, just do a small scale production and keep all your money yourself. Yeah. That's what I like to do.
Because then you're paying someone to actually then do something else with that money as well, aren't you? So I think our dear friend Todd Zuckerman actually said something about what you were talking about, Pete, on Facebook this week, because obviously he's just launched.
Yeah, he did. I shared his post.
Yeah, I did as well, and it's it's one of those things where we need to support these because obviously Chris was just saying it's like the drum stores is like that they're dying by the wayside because of these big things and because of that and it's like you do get these people, oh, I had a cymbal sent through the post, it's got a little ding on it, it's coming through the post. Do you know what I mean? It's like, go down to the shop, pick whichever one you want, and take it in your own hands after it.
I totally don't get that at all. What, unless it's kind of an example of something that's so rare that you're just a fanatical collector and you want one as a completist. Why would you buy a cymbal if you haven't played it and heard it?
Yeah. So, do you know what I mean? It's like, support your local.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Because obviously, because you heard, I can't remember which one was near you, Rob, which actually went a couple of years ago.
There's been a few.
Hasn't there? Around your way. I've gone brain dead. I think it was the heat in here. I'm starting to melt like the Wicked Witch at the moment.
In Bath and Bristol that have all gone.
Yeah, just a couple of comments. Hi, Janet Blackhouse, for watching. Pete Williams, a great show tonight, Matt. So interesting. Thank you very much. Again, AJ, there's lots of hearts on that one, so please take a note and improve for next week. Thank you very much. Dave, obviously, you deal. Obviously, you was a salesman first and all kind of stuff, but obviously now being the CEO of Hardcase, how important is actually your customer base through these shops?
Vital, absolutely vital. We need the drum store.
Yeah, is that because it's like, because I've just read Kenneth has actually said, do you make a snare case for a piccolo 13 by 5? They do. There we go. So, Kenneth, get on the where can they? I suppose you look on the Hardcase. Can you see where your local the local shops are?
All the major drum stores, the PMTs, the drum depots, the Newcastle drums, the Graham Russell drums, events, Sound Attack, Highwood Music.
Yeah.
Get along. Go support these guys, because our industry, our equipment is tactilious. You've got to touch the gear. You've got to feel it. You've got to understand it. You've got to understand the nuances of the cymbals. You've got to feel the drums. So even sticks, I like to go. I like to feel the weight of the stick in the store. Run it across the top of the counter, see what it's like. If you get it through the post, it's probably going to be all bent and twisted or whatever. But I think it's important, and it's important for us as a manufacturer that we have that clientele. Yes, we have an online store. It doesn't do much, but it's there for people that can't get to a store. That's its basic primary goal. And we tend to find out what we'll use it. But the people at the local, well, in major towns, will go to the store. They need to go there. But as Chris was saying, the likes of Amazon have changed the whole face of retail. And it's very, very difficult out there because they're just swallowing everything up. It's really tough because they contact me on a regular basis. Can we? And I go, no.
Good.
And it's getting harder and harder because the trouble is the stores are going. You have very little left to where do you sell your product?
Too right. Kenneth said actually drum depot is near him. Rob, it was Assembly Music.
Assembly Music in Bath, Steve Gardner.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I say with the whole kind of side, the personal touch, I don't know about, you've just reminded me, Dave, that, when I used to go and get some sticks from my local one, I literally had to go through. It's like you roll them to see if they were straight, and it's like sometimes you spend 10, 20 minutes going, yeah, that's not a pair. That's not. Oh, I like that one. Put that aside. Do you know what I mean? It's like it was the whole kind, and they didn't mind, did they? Because they knew the whole kind of thing about it. During that, so I can remember when I was actually a dear friend, Ian Tandy, who actually used to own a shop near here, actually. He was. I actually went in one day. He was working in Birmingham. Fair Deal Music was, and I said, I've got this symbol in mind, so I need to have. So he gave me a stick. I spent 10 minutes basically virtually, playing each one of them, and then something stuck out, and I had to go back to it, go back to it. Like, okay, and do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing, isn't it? It's like that's the one that got in my head. That's the one that's going to get. Do you know what I mean? So buying these kind of things, it's convenience. It's that kind. I suppose it's the modern day kind of like instant generation. You can get anything instant on your phone. Kind of. I've done the same. Don't tell the wife. I've just bought some new golf trousers, but they were online because nowhere around here sells them. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't.
What makes them golf trousers? Because they got lots of room for your balls.
Hey. Oh, Chris, can you?
There we go.
Yeah. Well, you have to find mine first. They're usually in the rough. So yeah, but no, it's it's that kind of thing. So it's I hope I've got some lovely Andy Bates. Thanks for watching. We're nearly over, but join us next week. See you soon. Drum Depot says seeing you soon, Kenneth. They have a going conversation online there. But guys, can I just say, there's been some lovely comments. Obviously, you can read it all later on about what we've been talking about. This kind of product to sort of basically to artist or to player, and I think it's more of an insight to how we need to support. It's like you play this. Or use this. It goes to the drum shop, then it basically goes down the line. It basically supports everyone through there. And if without these great innovators, it's like Chris and Dave, obviously you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. Basically going out to your gigs, basically it's like making sure your drums are protected, falling mid-air out of an aircraft and stuff like that. So please support everything that that these guys are doing through all the shops and everything else. Obviously, then you get to see, what was actually, what we're talking about. Guys, I've just noticed we're only about a minute and a half away. Drum Turbo, thank you. Parish Drum Clinic, bring all hang. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys. Again, if you're Dave Brown, great night, fellas. Kenneth, I remember Assembly Music. They were fab. Organised a tour of Premier Factory and Pipe Drummer, Jim Kilpatrick, all those years ago. Thanks to all great conversations. As I say, thank you very much for watching, because obviously we should be talking to ourselves. I keep saying that we enjoy it, but it'd be great to talk to you guys because we get more questions as well. Next week, we're here next week at live at 8:30 on the Palace Drum Clinic channel. If you haven't obviously liked our page, please do on the Facebook. Obviously go to Instagram, got something happen there. And obviously the Palace Drumming Club as well, please join that. And obviously go to the Palace website, which is that bit. PalaceDrumClinic.com. You'll see Rob. But you actually will see Rob actually playing on the Birdland sticks as well, I believe.
Yeah, that's true.
And you'll see Pete playing on his sticks as well. And you'll see me playing on my sticks. Actually, no, you won't, because they may come after us. But there we are. So can I just say a huge thank you, Dave and Chris, from joining us. I know, Chris, you've got to go off to a gig, so he's been drinking tea because he's a proper pro. That's how they do it down in Austin. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you guys really appreciate their insight into their companies as well. I know I've really enjoyed myself and learnt a lot more than obviously before 8:30. So thank you again. Thank you again to my fantastic panel. Without you guys, I'd be lost, because I'll just be talking to myself on the camera. So thank you again, Rob. Lovely to have you back, buddy. And thank you, Galaxy S9, which is a ironic name by the looks of things. Thanks, Pete. Thank you very much, Pete. We'll be back next week with, he's coined as one of the most creative drummers of his generation, will be Scott Pilgrim. So we look forward to that one with lots of creative talk next week with him. So it'll be Scott Pilgrim next week at 8:30 only on the Facebook channel, which is obviously the page of the Palace Drum Clinic. So thank you ever again to our special guests, Dave and Chris. Thank you very much for coming, and you'll see myself, Rob, and Galaxy S9 next week on the
Galaxy S9 running out of battery.
We better go then. Thank you very guys for watching. Take care. Stay safe. All the bye bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.